Mr. Bank helping my Visual Basic students with tracing code worksheet 2. The first two lines of code are just declaration statements for constants. Make a note that they're equal to 0.5 and 2.5, respectively. The next line of code, a declaration statement for a variable, so the computer creates an area of memory in the computer for the variable numDonuts, and it initializes it with a 0, so you should put a little 0 there. Same way with total cost as double equals 0. Some people actually show 0.0 to emphasize that that's a double and not an integer. You don't need to do that though, so I'm just going to put the normal 0 there. Okay, the next line of code, numDonuts equals 5. Well, that just means that the value 5 is being assigned into the variable numDonuts. Assignment statements, that is statements with equal symbols, always work from right to left. The 5 overwrites what used to be in numDonuts, and you should always put a single slash through the old value, and the new value 5 goes below it. Next line of code. We got to follow the order of operations, and first we have to plug in the correct values to these variables. I always like my beginner students to show their work. So numDonuts, you might think that it's 0, but it's not. The latest value of numDonuts is 5. See that 5? So put a little 5 there. Price per donut, that's not allowed to change because it's a const. It's 0.5. And discount, you can see up above, it's 2.50. Now, according to the order of operations, the computer multiplies here before it subtracts. 5 times 0.5, that works out to be 2.5. And then so you got that minus 2.50, which ultimately subtracts to nothing. And that 0 plugs into the variable total cost, because assignment statements always work from right to left. And that 0 plugs in then to total cost. I know it's already 0, but please put a 0 below the 0 just to emphasize that, well, a 0 just went over top of 0. Kind of like painting white paint on top of white paint. It's the way it is. Okay, the next and last line of code that we have to evaluate. Total cost is currently 0, but we have to put quotes around that so that it can be concatenated with another string, something else that's in double quotes. So using the str function in Visual Basic puts quotes around something. So now we're left with $sign plus 0. And that's what prints out on the screen in some label named LBL total cost. There's the final answer. Moving on to number 2, we've got two constants again, and we have a variable numBooks that's equal to 0 and a variable total cost that's equal to 0. This line of code, we're supposed to assume in this question that a 10 is typed into this text box. Well, the rule is that anytime you have a text box in VB, and anytime something's typed into it, it's treated as text. So really, implicitly, behind the scenes, there are quotes there around the 1, 0. Notice how I said 1, 0 and not 10. Anyway, the val command is necessary to rip those quotes off, effectively sort of erasing them and turning that 1, 0 into 10. And now, because assignment statements work, I repeat from right to left. This 10 plugs into the variable numBooks. Now, I've seen students sometimes put the number in the wrong column over here. That really messes you up, by the way. So always be accurate and trace your code carefully, keeping your eye on the ball there. And so numBooks, 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 right there, numBooks. Put a 10 there, and we put a slash through that. Okay, the next line of code. This is a tricky one. And we have to follow the order of operations. I need room here, so let's erase there. Anyway, plug the numbers in. Currently, numBooks is currently 10. Price per book, according to this, is 8.0. I'm just going to put an 8 there to save space. Shipping is 3, and numBooks is 0. Oh, numBooks is 10. So the number 10 got plugged in here and here, just saying. Okay, the order of operations. You do this multiplication first. 10 times 8 is 80, of course. And you have to slide over here and do this multiplication next. 3 times 10 is 30. What you're left with is this 80 plus this 30. 80 plus 30 is 110. That 110 plugs into the variable total cost. So that 110 goes in here. Do not put a $sign or something here because there's no $sign mentioned anywhere in the code that we have traced this far. The last line of code, however, does have a $sign, and that's what happens. Just like the previous problem, 110 gets quotes put around it so that it can indeed concatenate with a $sign using this plus symbol. So that plus that is equal to this. Sorry about this, network error. Okay, moving on then to number 3. 0 and 0 again. We're supposed to assume that an 18 is typed in. That 18, after being valid, goes in here. I'm going fast on purpose. Num points plus curve. Curve is a 5. This is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. The 23 plugs in for total points. All these get crossed out there. And we're left with 23 with double quotes around it. Notice there's no $sign or anything else added. Just the answer is 2, 3. Okay, the next problem is a bit tricky because of, I think, order of operations issue. 14, 8, and 6 are the numbers that plug in there for those 3. I forgot to put columns over here for those 3 variables. My bad. Anyway, 14, it's 14. Plus 8 plus 6. Well, the programmer probably meant to put, maybe they meant to put parentheses, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But what is known is that because of the order of operations, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, because of that, we're supposed to do this division first. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then you do this addition right here to get 12. And then you do this addition with 12 plus 3 is 15. And that 15 plugs in the grand total. So the 0 that was originally in grand total is overwritten now with 15. I like to circle my final answers when I do these problems. And the final printed answer is the phrase, the total is 15. Moving on to page 2. Player health is 25. Oh, sometimes we don't start things at 0. You can start at 25, that's fine. And I wrote num hits. It's not 10. Wow, keep your eye on the ball, Mr. Minnick. Num hit damage is 10, but num hits is initialized to 3. I don't know why I didn't put a dim statement there, but oh well. That 3 plugs into num hits, meaning that starts at 3. Well, we have to do this multiplication here first before the subtraction. Num hits is 3. Hit damage, according to this, is 10. 3 times 10 is a 30. And now we take player health minus that 30. So player health, according to this question, is 25. And 25 minus 30, even if it does not make sense to you, the final answer comes out to be -5 here on the right-hand side. And it plugs into player health. This gets crossed out, and it is what it is. And then the phrase health is prints out. No, health equals, I meant to say. Then plus str -5. So that just means a -5 shows up. In some games, maybe health can be negative. Okay, that's a wrap. I think you can do this problem yourself. This problem should be doable yourself. Notice that you're dividing here, and after you do this division, then you have to do that division. It's not that hard. And then number 9, some bank interest stuff. You can multiply just as well as I can and get your final answer. Have a good day.